For decades, Disney has been the undisputed king of theme parks. What started as a crazed experiment by Walt Disney quickly expanded into an unquestioned empire, where nobody could come close to challenging the mouse. But lately, that magic feels far less powerful. Prices are higher than ever, while the value feels lower than ever. Extras that you once got for free, like Fast Pass, nighttime extra magic hours, and more, are now hidden behind aggressive paywalls. And new rides and theme park expansions feel less like bold, creative decisions, and instead like hurried responses bound by executive mandates to ensure that hot IP gets to the park as soon as possible. In an industry that has always reacted to Disney, its competition has recently flipped the script and forced Disney to react to them. That competition, of course, is Universal. In the last 15 years, they have been relentlessly pushing to gain ground, aggressively expanding worldwide like never before, opening new, groundbreaking rides, theme parks, and even questioning what a true theme park experience has to be. But is it enough? Can Universal beat Disney on rides, expansion plans, or most difficultly, intangible things like nostalgia and brand loyalty? Let's explore how Disney has gotten here, how Universal is catching up, why Disney is struggling to respond, and what is likely to happen in the long run. For Review Time, I'm Luke, and who is really winning the theme park war? Historically, when Disney opened somewhere, Universal often wasn't far behind. But it was with the opening of Universal Studios Florida back in 1990 that the true Disney versus Universal argument would kick off. Especially with Disney opening their own Floridian studio theme park just a year earlier, which I'm sure had nothing to do with them trying to scare Universal off their turf. The 35 years since have been constantly filled with who is best or which should I visit discussions in theme park circles and general public Facebook groups alike. But if you think we're the best and don't need to ask a Facebook group to prove it, be sure to subscribe to the channel and like this video. Did you know only around 13% of you were subscribed, and that's an unlucky number. And for exclusive content you won't find anywhere else, be sure to check out our Patreon or YouTube memberships. Up until 2010, for most people, the answer to those previously asked questions was obvious. Universal was clearly playing second fiddle to Disney. That was until A Certain Boy Who Lived came along. The 15 years since have sometimes been a brutal back and forth between the two companies, constantly trying to one-up each other, with Disney specifically coming up with multiple answers to the Wizarding World, all of which would never see as much success as Harry Potter did. While the Avatar and Star Wars lands at Disney parks are great, they never got the praise the Wizarding World did, and never did quite make butterbeer levels of money from food or merchandise. But even with the opening of and expansions to the Wizarding World, Disney was still clearly on top in Orlando. But this year, Universal took the biggest step towards answering Disney's four-park resort when they opened their third Orlando theme park, Epic Universe. Ever since Epic Universe was announced, Disney have officially stated that they weren't worried about the park at all. However, as Epic Universe got closer and closer, Disney seemed to change its mind a little, as 3 out of the 4 Orlando parks they own are currently seeing some of the largest expansions ever at the resort, with Cars Land 2 and Villains coming to the Magic Kingdom, Tropical Americas coming to Disney's Animal Kingdom, and Monstropolis coming to Hollywood Studios, among lots of other smaller additions coming online in the next 5 years. While it's easy to point to this simply being the regular expansion plan at Walt Disney World, and not at all related to what their competitor is doing down the road, traditionally, Walt Disney World focuses on one park at a time with its expansions of this scale, and we haven't seen this sheer number of giant construction holes in the middle of Disney World parks in decades. Of course, all of these things would have been greenlit before Epic Universe officially opened, and we don't know and won't know for sure how many attendees are visiting Epic Universe. While I could say one day I visited felt painfully busy, that doesn't exactly give us a true look at attendance. I'd imagine when numbers do come out, Epic Universe will likely be the least visited of the 7 major parks in Orlando in 2025. But that doesn't exactly provide the full story, as the park initially opened in the middle of the year with a restricted capacity, and still doesn't offer annual passes, things that will significantly alter the overall capacity numbers. What I do know though is that Epic Universe is the most ambitious theme park project in the United States this millennium, if not of all time. At the recent Thea Awards for Theme Park Achievement, Universal won 4 different Outstanding Achievement Awards for Epic Universe, whereas Disney's parks received no awards this year. We do know the 2024 attendance numbers for the 6 other major Orlando parks, and at first glance they don't look great for Universal, and may very well lead to Disney resting on its laurels again if the numbers don't change in the years to come. Worldwide, Disney is number 1, welcoming over 145 million guests across their 12 theme parks, whereas Universal comes 4th, behind Fantawild and Merlin, with Universal welcoming 58 million guests across their 7 theme parks. In Orlando, Disney easily holds the crown, with the Magic Kingdom seeing almost double the number of attendees compared to either of the parks at the Universal Orlando Resort, with 17.8 million versus 9.5 million guests respectively. In the wider US picture, the top 5 theme parks are all Disney parks, and the only one beaten by Universal is Disney's Animal Kingdom, which comes in at 8th, behind Universal Florida at 6th, and Islands of Adventure at 7. The most worrying thing for Universal on paper is that the Orlando Resort actually saw a drop of up to 5.5% in attendance numbers in 2024 compared to 23. However, these numbers don't tell everything, as 2024 wasn't the best time to visit Universal Orlando, with a brand new park under construction not opening till 2025. All of these numbers are still down considerably from the 2019 numbers, with the slow return to normal still seeing a 15% decrease in attendance for Disney in 2024 compared to 2019, and a 9% decrease for Universal Orlando. Pure attendance numbers aren't all that is important to businesses though. It's the money that those numbers bring in that companies mostly focus on. Disney Parks just announced a $10 billion operating income in the last financial year, up $723 million over the previous one, which means that whilst domestic attendance is relatively flat, per guest spending is up. Disney is attracting fewer people, but making each person pay more to get in, to eat, to drink, to buy merchandise, and to stay on property. While Disney will have you believe that fewer people paying more is their ultimate goal, don't be fooled by that PR speak, as they're a publicly traded company, so more people paying more would truly be their ultimate situation. Now, while we don't have the full year results for Universal due to them using a different financial year to Disney, in the most recent quarter, the Universal Park saw a 19% jump in year-on-year revenue, mostly thanks to the opening of Epic Universe. However, for Universal's parent company Comcast, the theme parks are only a small part of that business, around 6.5% of their revenue. Whereas for Disney, their parks and experiences make up around 55% of their yearly revenue, often being used to make up for the shortfalls such as poor performing blockbuster releases and floundering projects like Disney+. In fact, since its announcement in 2019, Disney Plus has only just made its first profit this year in 2025. Without the parks, Disney could not take this sort of risk. That, of course, is a double-edged sword, as Disney parks are what allow Disney to take these risks in the other aspects of the business. But the parks can't really take any risks themselves with that money, as they are expected to make more and more money each quarter ad infinitum. This is in stark comparison to Universal, where they can take more risks as they aren't as big of a profit center for the bottom line of Comcast. So on paper, it truly looks like Disney is winning and it has nothing to be afraid of. But numbers aren't everything, and guest satisfaction is one of the major deciders in theme park success. While we can only speak for ourselves and people we have talked to, guest satisfaction lately seems to be much higher at Universal than at Disney, especially in Orlando, where it feels more like Disney is constantly reaching into your pockets and providing a lower quality product and service level than they have in the past. But if guest satisfaction is down, Disney doesn't seem to be scared, and they are so confident about their position that they are looking to push even more aggressive monetization strategies in 2026, bringing things like dynamic and surge ticket pricing, the bane of concert goers and Uber riders everywhere, to their domestic theme parks. According to CFO Hugh Johnston, this will be done in a way that doesn't create guest experience issues or consumer negative feedback, which shows just how confident Disney seems to be, as they think their guests will happily sit back and pay more for the same product without complaining. Disney is still riding off the intangible things that numbers and income spreadsheets will never show: the nostalgia, emotional connection, and brand loyalty that the company has built in its over 100-year history. Universal doesn't have its own Mickey Mouse, and the biggest successes their parks have seen are with intellectual properties that they don't own, meaning a large portion of the profits from Harry Potter, Nintendo, Simpsons, Marvel, etc. have to be handed over to someone else. And that someone else for the latter two is Disney. But nostalgia can only get you so far. Studies show that if people have a good time, they'll tell 3 people. If they have a bad time, they'll tell 7. So it's only a matter of time before we see for sure if those anti-consumer choices come back to bite Disney. And Disney can only hide its true domestic park numbers behind DVC, the cruise line, and international parks for so long. On the international stage, things are a bit different to in the US. In Japan, Universal Studios is the most visited park, seeing 16 million people through its gates, compared to 15 million at Tokyo Disneyland and 12.4 million at Tokyo Disney Sea. This makes Universal Japan the most visited theme park outside of the US, and the 3rd most visited in the world. With Pokémon set to open at the park in the near future, I can't imagine that those attendance numbers will be dropping anytime soon. Over in China, Disney currently holds the crown, but Universal is quickly closing the gap, being a newer park and seeing higher year-on-year increases than Disney. It might not be long before it takes over as the most visited theme park in China. But before we get to the future, I want to let you know that this video is sponsored by Extra. We're lucky to travel a lot with ReviewTyme, but nothing is more frustrating than trying to pack your life into a suitcase for a few weeks. Stuff barely fits and you're struggling to cram in all your clothes, socks, and underwear, let alone your framed photo of Michael Eisner. Thankfully, Extra's Travel Pack Vacuum Kit solves all of these problems, allowing you to triple your packing space by compressing your clothes in the durable anti-tear nylon bags using the included portable and rechargeable air pump. The other must-pack when traveling is the Extra wallet, again saving you a ton of space compared to a conventional wallet. Legit, here's my old wallet side by side carrying the same amount of things. Best of all, the wallet is trackable using the handy Apple Find My compatible tracking card. Extra have a Christmas sale on currently with up to 54% off until December 27th. So grab the perfect gift with Extra and be sure to use code ReviewTyme at partner.extra.com/ReviewTyme for an extra 10% off at checkout. Or scan this handy little QR code right next to my face. But now, let's look forward to the future. Both Universal and Disney are refusing to stop their expansions. And the way each park goes about these things could very well be the thing that finally pushes Universal above Disney. The largest project in the works is the Universal United Kingdom Resort. 21 years after leaving Europe with the sale of their ownership of Portaventura, Universal has recently announced their intended return with Universal United Kingdom Resort, set to open in 2031 in Bedford, around an hour north of London. Currently, the very beginnings of land preparation are underway, awaiting final approval from the government. Whilst it's way too early to say for sure what this park will contain, concept art and rumours seem to point to the park featuring lands and attractions based on Minions, Jurassic World, and Back to the Future. Disney has also recently announced another international expansion, but this one is a bit different to Universal, with Disneyland Abu Dhabi not actually set to be owned or operated by Disney, but instead under a licensing agreement with Miral, a government-owned company from the United Arab Emirates. This will see the park operate similarly to Tokyo Disney, which is owned and operated by the Oriental Land Company, who pays Disney a licensing fee to use their brand, characters, and IPs. While this does mean Disney has no financial risk in the business, they also won't make as much profit in the long run as if this park were owned and operated by themselves. But even Disney and Miral currently seem to have no idea what this park will actually be, with every interview seeming to contradict the previous ones, with some saying it will be the largest Disney park, some saying it will be completely indoors, etc. All of which suggests that this park is still in very early design stages, and likely won't be open for close to a decade, if at all. Now, this might seem like Universal and Disney are pretty much neck and neck when it comes to expansions currently in the works. But that's not entirely true. Universal just expanded its US domestic theme park footprint with a brand new park, something Disney hasn't done since 2001. Meanwhile, a lot of Disney's additions lately are capacity sidesteps rather than capacity increases, with things like Tropical Americas not adding any new capacity to Animal Kingdom compared to Dino Land USA back when it was fully open. And while Disney only has one major new park on the horizon, Universal has two new projects in the works, which both suggest they are completely rethinking what a theme park needs to be or can be, and could very well expand aggressively with these ideas once the initial locations open and are studied further. Opening up next year in Frisco, Texas is a brand new type of Universal theme park, Universal Kids Resort, a smaller scale park aimed directly at children. This seems to be a middle ground between something like a Legoland Discovery Center and a fully fledged theme park. Designed to be cheaper to build and operate and get children familiar with Universal parks and resorts from a young age. If this park does well, I can easily see them copying and pasting the idea, not just around America, but around the world. Which does kind of make me sad that this might be the only chance we ever get a Universal park here in Australia, but you learn to not complain as an Australian theme park fan. The park is packed with relevant family-friendly IPs such as Minions, Trolls, and SpongeBob, and is focused just as much on interactive experiences as it is on rides. The other new style of Universal property is on the complete other end of the spectrum from Universal Kids, with Universal Horror Unleashed, a permanent version of Halloween Horror Nights, which saw its first location open in Vegas just a few months ago. While I haven't heard too much from the people who have experienced the attraction, Universal must be confident in the success of this idea, as they already announced a second location in Chicago before the Vegas one even opened. And this is another brand I could see successfully rolling out all around the world, bringing the Universal brand and experience closer to the front of people's minds. Of course, all of this is just what has been announced, and I'm sure both Disney and Universal have plenty of future expansions yet to be formally talked about, including the long-rumored Shanghai Disneyland second gate, the recently rumored Saudi Arabia Universal Studios, and even the Universal Orlando fourth gate, bringing them up to par with Walt Disney World numbers of parks-wise. So what does all of this actually mean? Who is winning the theme park war? Ultimately, it depends on what your definition of the war actually is. Is the winning park the one opening the biggest and most ambitious new theme park attractions? Is it the one making the most money? Or is it simply the one you enjoy being in the most? As theme park fans, competition is good. The Wizarding World of Harry Potter kickstarted a new renaissance in theme parks and has led to spectacular rides like Rise of the Resistance and Monsters Unchained. It's led to brand new incredible parks like Epic Universe and a stepping up from both Universal and Disney. Even to me, having recently visited all 7 theme parks in Orlando, there's no clear-cut winner between Disney and Universal. But that alone shows how much Universal has closed the gap. A few years ago, it would have been insane to say that you thought of both equally. And now the competition is fierce. What I will say that is in 2025, Disney feels a lot more money-grabbing at first impression, and I'm not exactly sure why, as a lot of the things are more expensive at Universal. Maybe it's because Universal's hotels are so much more affordable, or because a lot of what you used to get at Disney is now an upcharge offering. I'm not sure. Of course, if you look at the numbers alone, Disney is clearly winning. They have the money, they have the parks, they have the attendance, but they've almost flatlined. They haven't dramatically increased attendance or capacity, especially when you compare it to how aggressively Universal has caught up in the last couple of decades. I don't think there's a clear winner in the theme park war today, and a lot of that has to do with Universal knowing they can't directly win against Disney. It's why things like Universal Kids and Universal Horror Unleashed have become a focus for the brand. It allows them to not beat Disney at their own game, but beat Disney in a new competition, where they are setting the rules. Of course, ultimately, Universal isn't trying to one-up Disney for the sole benefit of visitors. They aren't doing this out of the goodness of their hearts. They are a business too at the end of the day. I'm sure if they ever do take the crown, they'll also raise hotel, ticket, and express pass prices, and start pushing the boundaries of how much they can charge at every turn. This competition, whilst being great for the industry overall, has created an environment where to the average visitor, theme parks might feel generally worse than in the past, which is exactly what we're going to explore next week. So make sure to subscribe to see all of our upcoming content. But over to you. Who do you think is winning between Universal and Disney? Let us know in the comments down below. For Review Time, I'm Luke. Thanks for watching.